today is a good day because I am reviewing 2 books today. Mainly because they're part of a series and I didn't feel like really splitting them up. So you get 2 books in one video today. Today is the day that we are going to be covering ACOTAR, book 1 and book 2. So A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. This is a doozy. So for those who don't know, my favorite genre to read is fantasy. And so this is like my home. This is like what I'm used to, that I always cling to. It's my cozy center. But the thing is that I usually read romance fantasy, don't get me wrong, that is light and airy, and I do want to dive into more of that because I feel like between Iron Flame, Fourth Wing, and now this, my heart can't take it anymore. It's just a lot of pulling at heartstrings, and so today we're gonna be talking about it. If you haven't already, if you want to see my live reactions to A Court of Mist and Fury in the moment when I read certain things, go to my Instagram, and I have a highlight reel for all of A Court of Mist and Fury, along with some funny memes I found that related in some aspect. It's great. It's a great time. So I'm gonna start with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So, A Court of Thorns and Roses. So when I first heard about this book, I remember what I saw for the first time that introduced me to this series. It was, I can't remember the TikToker's name. I'm going to put it probably like over here somewhere. I remember watching her TikTok on actually this book, and she was freaking out about it. And I was like, whoa. And this was during the time where I wasn't reading like I used to, and I really just wanted to get back into the feels like when I was in high school, the love of reading, and this was gonna be an easy read for me because I loved fantasy romance. And so she was raving about it, not knowing that it was the second book in the series and not the first. So I whipped up the first one. I was like, I'm gonna read this quick because I've always been a fast reader. And a year later, I never did. Work got busy. I just never had time. I was stuck on the first chapter. Like, it was rough. Like, it was rough. My God. And so there were times where I would try and then I just couldn't. And there was this one time actually a couple months ago, because I read this on Christmas Day. I did genuinely try. I even got the audiobook on for Audible, and I tried to do it that way. I fell asleep at chapter 3 times. I had to reread the same thing over and over and over again, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I just put it down. I was like, I give up. I can't do it. This book is ridiculous. And I remember everyone who was a fan of this book, even my critique partner for my writing, was saying like, just get through chapter 5. Just get to chapter 5. And I was just like, I just find it frustrating that I have to wait until chapter 5 to get to the part that's good. And I was being some type of way. And I know the rule of thumb is if you're 100 pages in, you made it. And I believe that chapter 5 is, let me see what page chapter 5 is. Chapter 5 is, okay, it's like 43. So like I did hear that, and I actually just watched a TikTok yesterday that said the first 30 pages of any book is hard. And so chapter 5 is 44. So I honestly was like, you know what? I'm gonna push through, because I also had my coworker also reads this, and I caught her with the 3rd book, and I was just like, oh, you like it, and like, you think it's good? She's like, just get through book 1. And I was like, okay. That's the bajillion person that told me just get through book 1. So I was like, I'm gonna do my darnest to get through book 1. I knew in my heart of hearts that I didn't really fully give out all my resources that I usually do for it comes to books, and so I took it one step up. So all the companies I'm naming in here today are not sponsored, so please. These are just things that I genuinely use. So my critique partner ended up recommending me this app called Graphic Audio. Now, Graphic Audio is different from Audible because it has a full cast of actors and actresses who are like, each individual character in the book is played by a different person, rather than audio that's played by the same person all the way through, very monotonous. But this also has background music, it has sound effects, like it has the full, like almost, they literally title it as a movie in your mind. And it, oh my god, it helped. I literally got through this book in less than 24 hours because of the graphic audio. Now, the only thing that I find frustrating about the site is that it breaks up books, especially bigger ones. And so if you're a fantasy reader, you're really at a disadvantage because you know how fantasy books are really big. And so sometimes, like this book, I had to pay for 2 parts, part 1 and part 2, to get through this whole book. So in that case, it ended up costing a little bit. I think it was like $11 for each part, so roughly $22, $23 for the whole book. And some people think it's not worth it, but I'm all about the experience. I'm all about immersion, and so I'm a fan. So I only do it for books that I really cannot get through, that I really do want to enjoy, and I just need a little bit of guidance with that. So that's that. So now that I talked about how I kind of got into it, let's get started with the review. So I'm going to start with kind of what the basic premise of the book is about. I'm not going to get into any major spoilers. I'm going to try not to. If I do, I will definitely let you know by putting like italicized or whatever at the bottom. But here we go. So this is a human fairy book. Humans and fairies are at odds, like most books are when it comes to human-fairy relations. They live in 2 separate parts of the continent and is separated by a magical wall. There happens to be a house that is really close to the wall, and that's where our main character lives with her 2 sisters and her dad in this poor old shed because they were super rich. I think the father was a merchant, and he lost all of his money right shortly after when his wife died, the main character's mother, Feyre. And so basically the 2 sisters, what's their name? I forget their names. Oh my god. I know one of them is Nesta. Elaine? Oh, they're gonna kill me.
It's Elaine.
Oh my gosh. I'll put it in if I remember it. But basically, Feyre, the youngest, had to take care of everyone, and the sisters didn't even care to lift a finger about the steeds. And so basically, where did I leave off? My god. Oh yeah, she had to hunt and do everything herself, and their sisters didn't even lay a finger. In the beginning, they very much gave entitlement for sure. And how we get the ball rolling is that she kills a wolf. She sells it. Turns out it's a fairy, and so this other fairy guy comes. And picks her up as part of the treaty. It's like, if you kill a fairy, the whole treaty says that you have to stay in Prythian with them for the rest of their lives. And so she's like, well, I don't want to go. But he's like, too bad, you kill the fairy, so suck. And so he takes her. And most of the book is her trying to go back home, kind of push boundaries, not follow rules, and a lot of not following rules, and basically ends up starting to grow feelings for this fairy named Tamlin. And so we get to see in the book how they kind of grow into loving each other, and we see some side characters, some villains come into play, and I don't want to spoil the plot, so I'm skipping past that. She ends up doing a whole bunch of awesome stuff at the end. And in regards to how I feel about this book, I would give this a 4. I very much enjoyed the story. I really liked Act 3. I would say my full-blown attention was definitely given around that time. Like they had my attention in Act 2, like more like Calamai and her going back home for a little bit. Like, they got my attention with that, and the romance in the beginning with the lake and all that stuff. But Act 3 was, I loved it. And I ended the book with me just loving Farah, just like, you boss. Yes, this is awesome. I feel like every video that I do, my dog is gonna just show up in it. But, oh, also, it's his birthday today. He's officially 2, and we love that for him. Birthday boy, what do you feel about being 2? He's just like, Mom, please. So, but, yes. So, I enjoyed book 1. 2 was, like, it was good. Like, I still struggled in the beginning, but like they said, everyone had that struggle. So yeah, and I think that the book was beautifully written. So I think that, honestly, it's funny. Lucian's great. He was great in this. So let's move on to book 2 so I can get rid of this trash. So now, this is the one. I honestly, if you didn't see my reactions for this book, you need to. This book is amazing. I don't want to say it's my favorite because I want to read 3 first, because apparently 2 and 3 is kind of like where everyone is sitting on, but this was a really good one. I love the twists and turns, the change in perspective on situations that happened in book 1 that made me now be like, now I can't read book 1 anymore because I know they're lies. They're all lies. And so Rizan just fully has my heart. This man is a simp to the beautifulest degree. It's great. It definitely gave me the feels. I would say though, because initially when I saw the TikToker that I mentioned before reviewed this, it was supposed to be really spicy. And I think back then this would have been a lot of spice for me, but since upon reading a lot of other books like Iron Flame, I would say Iron Flame and Fourth Wing had more spice than this book. I never thought I would say that, but yeah. So, but all in all, I enjoyed it even when there's a little bit less spice. I love my books that are, not as spicy. I think that but I do enjoy it. Really took me through the book. Like, I was just like, please let me get there. And that's what you need. You need tension. You need that feeling of wanting more. So yeah, it was good. I think that the ending shook me to my core. Boy, was I mad. And it was good. And now that I came out of it like a couple days later, I truly, honestly, I can't. Like, I am thinking about it now and I'm just like flabbergasted. I love the chapter, if you know the chapter when... I don't know if this is a spoiler, so I'm going to play it extra safe. I'm talking about the particular chapter 54, when Rizan goes into a chapter's worth of explanation centered around chapter 1. I mean, not chapter 1, book 1, and a little bit into 55. If you know, you know. Oh my God. I love that chapter because it really did open my eyes to a lot, and it made me really think like this. Sarah J. Maas is a freaking genius. I aspire, honestly. It is beautiful. His perspective. I almost wish I had the book 1 fully in his perspective. To fully get that, I would love it if she made another book on that. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Just with I would love to just see his emotion of like when he went into Feyre's mind in the first book. Like, I wish, because he said things, but obviously he's like a tough cookie on the outside, so you don't know what he's truly feeling. And so when he was expressing how he felt in certain situations truly and honestly, I was just like, man, I really wish I knew more about you in that time. So it was good. I love that. I love their relationship. I love that she found her little family. So 5 stars, truly. And so I'll bring this one back. And these books will always have me. Like I said, I will be getting book 3 soon. And I will also be doing a live reaction to that one too, so stay tuned for that. I really am enjoying this series, and knowing I was thinking about going into Crescent City and Thorn of Glass as well. So I have a long way to go with these books. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching. If you do not know, I made an Instagram, so if you want to see what I'm currently reading or the live things, please go on there. It is Ashley's Reading Nook. I put it down below, over to the side, and I'll probably send like a hyperlink somewhere, so stay tuned for that. So thank you and have a good day. Bye.